Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Monday Night Live. Yeah, and this is the first time you've seen the intro. Hey Karen, how are ya? From the lockdown capital in Melbourne. How's it going in lockdown, Karen? Who else have we got on Monday Night Live tonight? Who have we got tuning in on this beautiful Monday? Hope you've had a good day. I certainly had a busy one. Today, we are having a bit of an intimate session talking about how to get more clients from LinkedIn marketing. LinkedIn lead generation. Thank you, Amber, for congratulating me on the finals. Fingers crossed, it's not in the bag yet, but always an honor to be recognized by the industry, especially with the Social Media Marketing Institute's awards, because it's not one of those ones where people just vote and whoever gets the most votes wins. They get judges from Spotify, from Snapchat, there's a guy from LinkedIn, some of the biggest companies, some of the best marketers in the world are judging this thing. So I was fortunate to get into Best Integrated Campaign for LinkedIn versus Instagram with the arch nemesis Brooke Valinovich. I mean, best use of LinkedIn the finals. I've got two campaigns, one post-COVID, which was educating businesses on how to adapt when COVID came around. And what was the other one? Behind the brand. So that was actually a client campaign. So the content that we're creating for our clients, where we do the interview and chop it up into engaging content. We use one of our clients to enter in for best use of LinkedIn. There's about 5 people in the finals. And then best educator, social media educator of the year, entered that one, got into the finals. And best social media marketer of the year. Oh, I feel like that's a big one. Some tough competition in that category. The one category which I did enter, which didn't get in the finals for, I'll just share with you. There was one I didn't get in for, was best use of YouTube. So obviously got to up my game on YouTube. So definitely going to I'm going to get the finalists for the YouTube category onto Monday Night Live so we can see what they're doing. Enjoy life indoors. Well, you got to make the most of it. There's always positives in every situation. 7,000 followers. Wow, well done. That's fantastic. Before we get started, I want to thank a few people, and I'm going to do this every week now on Monday Night Live, who have submitted reviews and recommendations. So these ones are from LinkedIn this week. And next week, I'm going to do the iTunes reviews. So just going to mention the people that left reviews. And I'm giving away every week a membership to my LinkedIn training course, LinkedIn Insider 2.0, which is retailing at the moment for $597. So going to give one of those away next week. So if you would like to have the chance to win membership to my best LinkedIn training course online, then go to iTunes, the Nathaniel Bibby podcast, and submit an honest review. Doesn't have to be 5 stars to be in the runnings. Have a listen and submit a review. Let us know what you think. The way that the podcast world works on iTunes is the more reviews you get, the higher up you are in the category. So that'd be fantastic. So this week, I'd like to thank a few people. I've got Sally Prosser from That Voice podcast. Thank you. Harriet Meller, who was on Monday Night Live. Mariska Nell, who came along to 7 Steps of LinkedIn Influence. Thanks for your review. Holly Smith, the queen of LinkedIn Fitness. Amelia Vickers, thanks so much. Taryn Williams, founder of the Right Fit Wink Models and the Influencers Agency, who's also on Monday Night Live. Patience Sanusi, who's a personal trainer in New York, doing a lot of virtual programs for companies, innovative entrepreneur. Lauren Stevenson and Roy Gorrell, who submitted them, I think that was last week. But thank you so much for your review. I appreciate it. And next week it's got just iTunes. I've got to give away a LinkedIn Insider membership as well. David's heading over to iTunes now. That's awesome. And if you guys like are using Android or whatever, like me, then you can do it like on a desktop app, I think. But yeah, you can. I've got it on iTunes on my desktop, so that's how I do it. So this is the agenda for today, right? We're going to be talking about LinkedIn, how to generate leads with LinkedIn marketing, how to get more clients within 30 days. And I've made this extremely practical. Like I'm showing you exactly where to go on LinkedIn, what to write in various fields in the search results, what to write when you send somebody a connection request. And then I want to talk about influence because it's going to become more and more important. We're at a bit of a crossroads. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And then I'm going to end with the one thing that all successful people have in common. I'm going to share that with you towards the end. I have a question for those of you that are tuning in. Guess how much content creation on LinkedIn increased in 2020? How much more content was created on LinkedIn in 2020? Was it 10%, 20%, 40%, or 60% last year? Drop in the comments, let me know what you think it is. I'm going to answer that in a minute. For those of you that are using LinkedIn how's my haircut? I'm like looking at it, I'm like, what the hell? Not used to it. So for those of you that are using LinkedIn to grow your network and you're using LinkedIn to get more leads, you would have noticed something about a month ago. LinkedIn introduced a weekly invitation limit, didn't they? So what that means is you can only send so many connections to people on LinkedIn to connect each week. Because as some of you would know, a lot of people have been sending lots and lots of connection requests, growing their network with people they don't necessarily know. LinkedIn was monitoring this by getting people to like report them as spam or whatever. I'm guilty of this myself. Like when I started out on LinkedIn 8-9 years ago, I was sending 500, 600 connection requests out to people in my target market a day. That's the advantage of starting early. When these platforms are immature, you can get away with this stuff. So LinkedIn's maturing is what I'm getting at. The limit seems to be for most countries around 100 invitations per week. So it means you've got to be a lot more targeted and have a lot more conversion rate. Because of course, when people check their invitations, there's getting so many from salespeople now, marketers. It wasn't like that before. Like a lot of them were just a generic connection request. So now, like it's not enough. Like there's a lot of people automating this stuff. Now, this is important. So LinkedIn sent out an email. If any of you are on LinkedIn email list, during the week. And it was talking about LinkedIn security and what it's doing to crack down on automation, scraping, and things like this. So scraping, just for those of you that haven't heard of the term before, is basically when a piece of technology, let's call it an app, crawls the internet and looks for data. So like in LinkedIn's case, it could crawl LinkedIn and look for personal information like telephone numbers and email addresses, suck that data out, and potentially, sell it or use it, for spamming people, whatever it may be. But it is against the user agreement to scrape. And so what LinkedIn does to mitigate this is it's looking for signs that something like a robot is viewing a profile or doing some kind of activity on LinkedIn in a way that makes it look like a robot. So like, if it's viewing a profile every 5 seconds, then it's probably not a human being. So LinkedIn also keeps an eye on what automation tools are out there and develops systems to track whether your browser's using them. So just be careful of that. Like I know a guy, I don't even mind mentioning his name. Is it Josh Fetcher? I'm pretty sure that's his name. He was the founder of BAMF, ended up having to sell the business because he was actually kicked off LinkedIn for using like techniques that broke the user agreement. Had about, I don't know, like 100,000 followers or something, was one of the leading influencers on the platform, bang, gone. And had to reinvent his business completely. So it happens to everyone, like, it's not everyone, but it can happen to anyone is what I mean. And what? So I'm going to answer this question, by the way. Hey, Patience, welcome. Thanks for your review. I really appreciate that. 60%, Najma, correct. We have a winner. Oh, thank you very much. Look at this service. 60% is correct. 60% more content in 1 year. Correct, Karen. Amber in the house. Amber's going to be joining me on Monday Night Live next month. Oh, cool. That's interesting. Good to see the comments flying in. I like this. Let's see if we can get over 100 comments. So with that, with lots of new content creators, right? At the moment, because you need to invest either time in learning the platform and the context of how to deliver value on the platform, like what works, what doesn't, and or money, and get like a LinkedIn trainer like this guy to train you or your team, and so you can get 10 years worth of experience and learn from somebody that's already been through the learning curves. And while that's happening, you can't expect content to be great at the start. So at the moment, there's not there's a lot more talent than there was a year ago, but there's still the majority of people aren't using it properly. But that's going to change. And there's some talent that's coming over from Instagram, like good creators, and YouTube, like really good video creators that I was surprised went on the platform earlier. And there's going to be some strong competition. These guys are going to get they're going to nail it because LinkedIn's organic reach is very exciting to them. And it's getting to a stage now where it's like, okay, now you've got to be good. You can only send 100 connection requests. There's a lot more content creators, and the good guys are coming over, and the brands are spending money on the ads. LinkedIn advertising is good. You are getting loads of sales letters in your connection request. The conversion rates for connection requests gone down a lot on average. And so it's a different ball game than it was 2-3 years. 2-3 years ago. 2-3 years ago, I could make a lead generation program work for pretty much most B2B businesses. It doesn't even matter if they had 50 connections, weren't doing any business, maybe had one client. I could make their profile stand out from the crowd. I could optimize it. I could make it convert, and I could send the right scripts that would get the conversions. It's not like that these days. It doesn't work for every brand. It's got to be the right message, the right audience that's going to stand out among all of the salespeople. So you've got to be a lot more creative. Content is a must, and things like LinkedIn events are really important. And we've got to remember as well, we're building relationships here. It's not just about how many connections you can add. It's about how you build a network. And people are going to get kicked off LinkedIn. They are, because LinkedIn doesn't want rubbish on the platform. You've got to learn how to mitigate that from happening. If you are sending out invitations to people you don't know, that's okay, but you just got to take some precautionary measures to make sure that you don't run into trouble, especially if you're doing this with clients. If you're representing a client using their LinkedIn profile, that's their personal brand. That's very important. You've got to take that very seriously. And I know there's a few people join into Monday Night Live that are LinkedIn agency owners. Never been more important to skill up on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn Insider 2.0 is available on nathanielbibby.com. That's my little plug. But honestly, I don't want to see you go through 1-2 years learning how to use the platform and then it's all changed. You want to learn it over a weekend. Do the course, level up, $597. I mean, you're going to make most businesses would make one sale and it's paid for, and you save yourself a year of headaches. And you don't have to do a course with me, but come on, guys. No, it's a good course. It's a good course. Yeah. So 60% content creation, right? 100 connection requests per week that you can send. So what are we going to do today? So I'm going to go through some slides with you today that I've prepared that I think are going to add a lot of value. So here we go. Make sure that's showing up all right. There we go. Oh yeah, company pages is going to be huge. Things are changing. LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn events. All right, dudes. Here we are, right in amongst it. This is LinkedIn. So up the top here, you've got the search bar, right? So a lot of people would use this just to put keywords in. What I'm going to suggest you do is you just click enter. Just go to search and click enter, and then select people. And then you want to like select the all filters button, which is towards the right, and you'll see like some of these granular targeting mechanisms on the right. So the first thing you can see is connections, first, second, and third. So if you're like looking to grow your audience with new people, get new prospects in your pipeline, the best thing to do is focus on second degree connections. They are people that will have connections in common with you, and people who have connections in common with you, more likely to accept your invitation. Like, you know the same people they do. You know, it's like you go up to a party, like, and you know, you got 5 of the same friends, they're likely to shake your hand and have a chat. Location is a targeting feature we use a lot. So for the sake of this example, I've selected Australia. You can then go as granular as what the current company is. Keep in mind, this is only as good as how updated their profile is. And if you scroll down a little bit, you can choose industry. Like financial services I've used in this example is a great way to narrow down the search results. Let me know if you've used this advanced search feature with all the filters before in the chat. And then you'll see that I put in the title here, Managing Director. You'll notice that I've also put it in inverted commas. So why have I done that? Well, that means when you put it in inverted commas, it means managing and director, those 2 keywords have to show up in sequential order. It has to show up exactly how it looks within the inverted commas. Okay. So why would I use managing director, not CEO or founder? Well, managing director would typically be a director of a business who, first of all, he's actively managing the business, and generally, like, it's generally a certain size of company. Like, I think of managing directors like generally like, I don't know, 15, 20 employees up to say 100, whereas CEOs generally like bigger, which, you know, obviously big clients are great, but the decision-making process can be more complicated. Managing director, I believe, generally is a one-stop shop for making decisions. So, you know, you can always like start with managing director, then try founder. If you put director in, the problem with that is you're going to see like sales directors, marketing directors, all sorts of different, you know, people showing up that may not be the person that you're necessarily looking for. So then you click show results. And, you know, in my instance, I've got 2,300 results. So they all, you know, have the title in that area, managing director. They're all in Australia. They're all in my second degree network. And they're all listed in the financial services industry. Doesn't necessarily mean they are in the financial services. Like, it's just what they've selected. So if somebody like joined LinkedIn, put themselves in the financial services industry, and then like switched and went to work in media and didn't update their profile, then they're going to show up. So it's only as good as how updated the profiles are. So, you know, generally, like, it's a good idea to, you know, connect with people that have a photograph that looks good, like there's professional. People with, you know, premium account are always going to be more active and more thoughtful, things like that. Because 2,300, you can only send 100 a week, so you don't necessarily just want to go through the list. You want to pick the people that are more likely to accept. And you can see here, like, the shared connections. And they'll see this when you send them the connection request as well, so it's quite important. Oliver's enjoying LinkedIn Insider. Najma, thank you. Hey Hugh, how you doing, mate? Cool. Cool. What are the 11 most boring words in the English language, ladies and gentlemen? I'd like to add you to my professional network on LinkedIn. Obviously, if you're on LinkedIn and you've sent a connection request before, you'll be familiar with the automated one-click connection request. And so take the time to show somebody that you've actually looked at their profile and have a genuine interest in them rather than sending just a generic connection request. They are getting accepted more just because the customized connection requests from salespeople are sending out more, they're being sent out more and more, so they're less effective. However, I believe that if you want good quality leads, the kind of people that are going to accept the generic connection requests are not necessarily going to be the top quality, best quality leads. They're probably just people, they're probably more likely to be people that are just looking to get their numbers up on the scoreboard. Number of connections, number of followers. Make themselves seem more popular than they are. So a few don'ts, and then we'll go into some do's. When you make a connection on LinkedIn, don't send a connection request without a personalized message. Don't lead with a hard sell, pitching your products or services. The goal of a connection request is to get them to accept your invite. So don't mention like, you want to sell to them or talk to them about your product. You can do that once you're connected. You want to just have one step at a time. Don't ask them to do more than one thing. The worst thing you can do is say, let's connect. And if you want to check out my website, here's the link. Oh, by the way, here's my email address. Oh, here's a video of a client testimonial. You just want one simple call to action in every communication. Ask for a favor. The relationship can't support that yet. Like if you don't know them, you haven't met them, you haven't built rapport, like you don't ask favors. Like it's like asking somebody to write a recommendation for you who you don't know. Like I can't believe that people ask me to write recommendations for them when I've never even met them before. I can understand it if I haven't done business with them. Like I might still be aware that they know what they're doing just based on my conversation. I can make that clear in my recommendation. And you should be building your recommendations, by the way. A lot of people don't bother to do this. Like I've got 112 or something recommendations and I'm still growing them. It's important because if somebody, like even if it's not a client, even if somebody that like wants to come on Monday Night or thinking about coming on Monday Night Live, they can read what some of the other guests have said about it, that they had a good experience, and then it'll make them comfortable, because social proof is everything. Like no one wants to go to a party with like no one wants to go like to a party with like 2 or 3 people there. They want to go like where things are happening. Like you want to know that it's like popular. If you go like to a restaurant, you want to know that other people have been there and had a good experience. Social proof's happening on LinkedIn in a big way. Don't name drop or humble brag about the number of connections you have. God damn it! If you have something like Lion or 47k connections in your headline, seriously, bragging's not a good look. It makes you look insecure. It's not a good idea. Name dropping is people will put 2 and 2 together. You don't have to drop names and all that kind of stuff. And don't babble about yourself, share your life story. Be concise, precise, show interest in the person that you're connecting with. I can guarantee you this, no matter who you send a connection request to, I can tell you one thing they're all interested in. That's right, themselves. They're interested in themselves, so show interest in them. When you make a connection on LinkedIn, be polite and respectful. It's a professional community. Be grateful, show appreciation. Don't overdo it, but thank you is appropriate. Relevant and focused. Show them why a connection with you matters. One reason's enough. You don't have to go into a long spiel. But like you're taking their attention for them to read the message. So keep it brief. That is value. So personalize your message to them. Use specificity to show them that you're paying attention to them. It's easy to make something long. It's difficult to make something short. Sometimes I spend up to 15 minutes, 20 minutes writing a LinkedIn connection request. I've been doing this a long time just to make it short. That's how I can get guys like Grant Cardone and Kerwin Ray and Jules Lund on my podcast, because of the specificity of those messages. And I'm name dropping, but I'm not sending you a connection request. I'm demonstrating the power of specificity. Be professional. Don't discuss personal issues. Avoid using slang. This is not Instagram, ladies and gentlemen. This is not Instagram. Responsive. Don't initiate a conversation with your connection, then ghost them once the connection is made. It makes you look like you either automated it or you're just looking to grow your followers. We're building relationships here, people. Goodness gracious me. Would you know, like invite somebody to a coffee with you and then ignore them? Hey, good question. Can you give an example of a great opening statement? Absolutely. I'm going to do that very, very shortly. Alrighty. Name drop bar. Okay, so here is the answer to your question. Some examples here. So this is if you're sending to a previous work colleague. There's an example. Hi David, it was great to work with you at XYZ company back in 2014. How's your new position going? It'd be great to catch up sometime. Something like that. Short, personalized, shows the relevancy, asks a question. So questions can work quite well if they're quite simple to answer, because people like automatically want to answer questions. And you're making it a bit like a text message, you know? If you've got mutual connections, you could say, hi Andrea, I noticed we share a number of mutual connections and you're also based in Perth. I thought I'd invite you to connect and perhaps catch up, learn more about what you do at some point in the future. Now, look, not everyone's going to accept that invitation, right? But the conversion rate's higher than most requests you could send. Influencers or potential business partners. Like if you look around their profile, like take the time to have a look at their website and see if you can like find something relevant that you can comment on. Like if this works extremely well with journalists. Like if you want to ever get in the newspaper, you search up like your industry, find some articles, look at who the editor was, and then find them on LinkedIn and write to them and say, hey, I read your article on social media marketing. I thought it was very interesting. I really liked the point you did about where you talked about TikTok. And by the way, like if you ever need a comment or some content, I'd be more than happy to contribute, and then you can connect with them and get some free publicity. It works extremely well on LinkedIn. We've got a lot of free PR through LinkedIn. Building relationships. In this example, I said, hi Sarah, I enjoyed watching your YouTube video about marketing automation and keen to learn more about what you do. I noticed we share a number of mutual connections too, or slammed 2 types of connection requests into one there. Cheers, Nathaniel. If you met somebody at an event, always good to keep in touch with them. If you have their business cards, pretty useless, even if you put them in a CRM. At the end of 12 months, in a 12-month period, I think it's at least 30%, if not more, 30% of email addresses are not working anymore. They've changed. So they're not very valuable, but if they do change, their LinkedIn profile will probably update their email address there, and they'll just to be able to reach them on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is way more important than an email database these days. It's crazy that people buy email databases and don't have a LinkedIn profile and send free connection requests. If you met somebody at an event, you could say, hi David, it was great to meet you at ABC conference last week. Your upcoming project sounds interesting. Let's keep in touch. So it's low commitment, like, you know, keep in touch. I'm not going to try to sell to you. You don't have to do anything else. I love this. So Karen checks out their content and comments before sending connection. So when they see the comment, they can see that she's taken interest in what they've taken the time to create and post. She's listened to them. It's likely that when they see her comment, they're going to release dopamine, oxytocin, or endorphins. So the brain chemicals are actually going to prime them to even just a subtle amount, to like Karen and trust her. And then she sends the invitation. They're like, oh, it's Karen, the lady that commented. Fantastic technique. It only takes 2 minutes. Let's keep going. Okay, now if you join LinkedIn groups that your target market is likely to be members of, but if you want to find out what LinkedIn groups your target market is a member of, go to one of your clients or somebody that's in your target market, go to their LinkedIn profile, scroll down to the bottom, and under interests, you'll be able to find what groups they are a member of. And if they are in your target market and they are a member of a certain relevant group, then it's likely that people that are similar to them are going to be members of that group. So join that group and you could get access to hundreds of thousands of people. You can send them connection requests and say, hi, Andrea. I'm also in the social media thought leaders group and I've really enjoyed reading your posts. Obviously, like, they have to be posting. You can't just send this to everyone, because if they're not posting, you're gonna make yourself look like a fool. The piece you shared a week or two ago about PR was thought-provoking. I'd love to learn more about your work. Okay, now this is pretty advanced. This is what the big boys do. Why don't you get your prospects, instead of sending them a connection request, why don't you get them to send you an invitation? Well, how do you get prospects to send you a connection request? Well, my friends, I'm going to show you exactly. You won't use any of your 100 connection requests if you use this strategy, and it works extremely well. So this is what you do. They will trade either a connection or an email address for something of value. This is the way lead magnets work. So if you have an ebook that is valuable, got valuable content, this is an example here of 120 killer social media content ideas. So examples of posts, 120 in that ebook I wrote. Excuse me. Excuse me. And so they will go to the website, complete a form, first name, last name, email address, and then they'll be in your email marketing system. But this says, getting stuck for content ideas, ? Never be short on content again. My new ebook solves this once and for all. 20 killer social media content ideas. If you want a copy, comment below with ebook, and I'll inbox you the details. Now, I get them to comment so that the post gets lots of engagement, therefore lots more people see the post, rather than just putting the link in and then people leave and they don't comment, and then it actually doesn't get as much reach. Whereas when they comment, like, it gets hundreds of comments, it's one of the most engaged posts for the month. Now, if they comment below and they are a second degree connection, they are interested in finding out the content, can you inbox them the details? No, you need to be connected with them. So they'll actually connect with you. And if they don't, if they just comment below, you can always drop a comment and say, oh, do you just mind sending me an invitation so I can inbox you the details? And so you're getting them to connect with you. Here's another example. The Ultimate Guide to Social Selling. By the way, you can get this on bibbyconsultinggroup.com.au under resources for free. But in this scenario, I said comment yes below for a free copy. Excuse me. And you notice these posts get like 200 odd comments or so. How long should you wait before you do an inquiry about whether they're interested in your business? Great question, Patience. So they will most not likely tell, if they're interested in your business, they'll most likely tell you straight away. What you want to do is you want to make an inquiry about finding out more about them, speaking to them to learn more about them. Because you're not looking for somebody that's interested in what you do. You're looking for somebody that has the problem that you solve, because they may not know that you're the solution. So the thing is, like, if this is like a buying funnel. I don't know if you can see that. I don't think you can you? Maybe I'll just fold it. So, like, here we go. So if that's a funnel, right? And at the top is like the general population, and it's like, so there's millions of people up here, and then there's people that like are in the awareness stage, which means they're not aware of the solution. They may have the problem, but they're not aware of the solution. And then there's people that are like aware of the problem, and then there's people that are in the consideration stage that are already evaluating alternatives. And so as you go down this little funnel here, the number of people goes down and down and down and down and decreases. When you are curating content for LinkedIn, you generally want to cater for the awareness stage right at the top, because that's what most people are going to be. And so you want to get a lot of engagement, so you need to cater for the awareness stage. And in the awareness stage, most of them aren't necessarily going to have an interest right now, but they may have the problem. So I'll give you an example. So the way it works for a LinkedIn marketing agency, for example, is I might connect with them, and by the way, like, I wouldn't wait at all. Like, if I want to speak to them, I would do it straight away. As soon as they connect, I'd say, hey, thanks for connecting. I'd love to learn more about your business to see if there's an opportunity for us to work together, or just to see if there's a way I could add value. Because there's so many ways you could add value, right? You could introduce them to a client. You could refer somebody. You could do business with them. You could become a client. Like, just until you find out more about them and what they do and what their goals are, it's a little bit hard to know whether or not they're going to be the right fit. So I say, yeah, I'd love to have a chat and find out more about your business. I'm really interested in finding out more about what your goals are, and let's see if there's any opportunities for us to be able to add value to what you're doing. So are you free for a conversation? Why don't I give you a call tomorrow? Does 10 o'clock work, or 11 o'clock in the morning? So you're not asking them if they're interested in doing business. You're asking them to have a conversation. And then when you have a conversation, you say, hey, thanks for taking this time to speak to me today. So the purpose of this call is just for me to find out a little bit more about what you're doing, see if there's an opportunity for us to for me to add value. And you're welcome to ask me some questions as well. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions? And they'll say, yeah, sure. And you say, okay, you might start with like, oh, so how'd you get into this business? And then you might say something along the lines of, like with the LinkedIn marketing things. Oh, how are you finding LinkedIn? Like, are you getting the results that you want? Are you getting enough leads from LinkedIn? Oh no, like I'm not. Oh, okay. Would you like to know more about how I can help you with that? You get permission to tell them about what you do, and only when you tell them what you do they really have an opportunity to be interested in what you do. So with patients, like you probably think to yourself, oh, how do I relate this to like a personal training business? Well, it might be that you reach out to somebody that's like, okay, they're in the wellness manager for Spotify, for example. So they run wellness programs for their employees, who most of them are working from home in America. And you might say something like, yeah, thanks for connecting. I'm really interested in your role as wellness manager for Spotify. I'd love to have a call and just find out a bit more about what you do to see if I can add value. And then when you speak to them, you might say, so, do you have any wellness programs that you're running this year? What are they? Have you ever considered doing something that might improve the productivity, the well-being of your staff members, and also let them know that you care about their health? And if she says, no, I haven't, that's interesting, you can say, well, would you like to know more information about the personal training programs that we offer that deliver higher productivity, more engagement, better staff retention, and all of the benefits? It's always a little bit harder when you're putting yourself in the shoes of another professional, but it's the same process. You're asking for permission, and when you got permission, it's not really selling, is it? You're just providing information that they told you that they want. So this is the thing, is like when people are coming from here, like from the consideration stage, which is like what they'll do if they find your website or they search for you on Google. Now, they know that they are looking for a solution, and so like they might just say, hey, how much is it? Or so when you're catering for the top, it's a little bit like a networking function. Oh, hey, what do you do? Oh, do you have a website? Like, are you happy with it? Like, if you're an SEO, for example, and people will resonate. And with its content's just like speaking from stage. Like, people relate to your content, and they'll go, oh yeah, I feel like that. And they'll do business with you. But it's top of the funnel when you're not using ads. You can do like lower down the funnel if you're retargeting people that have viewed content, etc. Yeah, I mean, like, I understand where you're coming from, Karen. Like, I am totally fine with starting conversation. Like, if I see somebody that, like, I'm just interested in, I'm like, oh, not thinking about myself. I'm just thinking, oh, geez, that business would be perfect for LinkedIn marketing. I wonder if they're doing anything in that area. I wonder, what their goals are this year. I wonder if I can help them. Like, imagine if their goal was to get 100 leads a month from LinkedIn and they're sitting there on their thumbs and they don't know how to do it. And I didn't reach out and ask them what their goals are. It's such a shame. That's why I'm in business, to help people like that. I want to find out if I can help them. Great comment. Okay, so new weekly invitation limits. 100 a week, 100 invitations. How to avoid invitation restrictions. Here's what you need to do to navigate this and avoid being restricted, or even worse, booted off LinkedIn. Customize, personalize your LinkedIn connection request. Never assume someone has a need for your service. Very disrespectful. Like, this is why you don't start selling to people until you've established that they either know that they need your service or they have the problem that you solve. And you might think they have the problem that you solve, but they have to acknowledge it. And so you have to ask them questions. Until then, no selling. Withdraw pending connection requests. And I use a 3-week limit. So if I've sent somebody an invitation and they haven't responded for 3 weeks, I will withdraw it. So it's not sitting there pending. So LinkedIn sees all these pending connection requests that haven't been accepted. Who's this guy? Why is he sending all these connection requests to people that aren't accepted? You want to keep these like under a few hundred, really. Generally, you'll get bad conversion rates if you send connection requests to second degree network. Personalize your profile. Get rid of salesy shit. Never send unsolicited links, right? Like, oh, I thought you might be interested in this ebook. Nobody cares. You don't give advice to people that didn't ask for it. Especially if they don't know you, man. Like, I can't believe the audacity that people think that, like, people got time to, like, read their stuff. Like, nobody cares. Like, you can send them a message and say, hey, like, I noticed you're in the financial services industry. I've written this ebook on LinkedIn for financial services. Would you be interested in seeing it? If you say yes, then you can send it to them. But you don't just go, oh, I thought you'd be interested in this, like, bang, nobody gives a shit. I wasn't going to open it. Stop focusing on volume. Social media works on relevancy. Stop selling, start helping. Here's the thing. People love buying. People want to buy. If they've got a problem, they want to solve it. People love shopping. People love buying stuff. They just don't want to be sold to. They want someone to help them buy. If you go like shopping for a good example is a computer. Like, I've got this computer. I don't know anything about computers, but I wanted the fast ones for video editing. So go to the computer shop and like, I'll go to where's it I went first? It wasn't JB Hi-Fi, one of the other ones. And like, I just felt like I was getting sold to. I was like, it was like not so much like asking me questions to find out what I wanted. It was more so like, buy this one, get, it's like just, I felt like I was getting sold to, and I left. And then I went to PLE Computers, and they just like, they asked me all the questions, and then they said, here's the solution. And I didn't understand anything they showed me, but the dude seemed to know what he was talking about. And I bought it, and I just think that, I think he helped me buy. I think he really helped me buy. Social media works on relevancy, guys. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in just a second. I'm going to make an asterisk here. This is how you withdraw connection requests that are pending. So in your My Network section, you'll see you'll see received invitations, and there'll be a tab for sent invitations, and this is where you withdraw invitations. All right, I'm going to close these slides. All right. Love the passion. Could be the passion, could be the wine. Okay, so like I occasionally do partnerships with brands that are in the tech world generally. big brands that have products that are good, that I like, that I use, and they want content created about it or like reviewing it. And so sometimes I collaborate with them. And it's called influencer marketing. I don't do a lot of it, but I do some of it. Like, if anyone came to LinkedIn versus Instagram, we had to sponsor by Restream, which is a streaming software that you can use to go live like this. I've done an article for Linktree, which I use on Instagram, love it. Doing stuff with HubSpot, so very selective with the brands. But influencer marketing, right? Traditionally, and a lot of people who are listening probably think about influencer marketing like this, was about distribution, right? Distribution. So it's like, how big's your audience? How big's your audience? How many likes and comments can you get? What's actually going to happen is this social media thing now, as the content creators are all coming in, there's like before, there was a lot of people consuming content and very few creating it. It's still a little bit like that on LinkedIn. There's like a couple of percent of the LinkedIn members are posting video content, for example. So LinkedIn video gets shared 20 times more because for every one or two creators, there's 98 or 99 consumers, right? But it's changing. Like, there's a lot more people posting and stuff. And so as supply and demand level out, there's not going to be this like massive hack to like get distribution, right? And so what will be the differentiation? What influence will become will not be about attention. It'll be about trust, because brands will be looking for influencers that not have a bigger audience. They just want to look for influencers where people trust what they say, like trust their opinion, or they have a good relationship with their audience. People care what they have to say. Because, like if I tell you that I use Linktree on my Instagram and I think it's the best, I hope that you would consider it because, like, of my reputation. Like, I've always told you the truth, and so I've prioritized trust over attention in a lot of instances. And the guys that have like done it the other way around and prioritized attention while breaking trust, they're not going to have any influence. They're not going to have any value. They would have influence in the old terminology where they have distribution. Yeah, sure, they have loads of followers, but it's just not going to work like that. Like, you're not going to get in front of all of them because there'd be there's too much stuff in the newsfeed. There's only so many posts that can go to the top. So it'll be about whether people will care. Like, if people care enough that if you're not showing up in the newsfeed, they'll go to your profile and look at your content anyway and save your posts. That's valuable, and that's where it's moving. And so I think that at the moment, with what's going on with social media, all these changes, all these restrictions, and all this competition, it's like, I've been growing my business with social media for the last 10 years. I've been growing over 30,000 businesses I've worked with through social media. And, I see this happening, and I feel like we're at the point now where it's like, there's a lot of competition, everything's changed. But the one thing that will differentiate you from all of the competition is influence, and it's not the number of followers. That's not what I'm talking about. It's whether people care about what you have to say. So you have 100,000 followers, so what? But if you can go to Perth and you can call up me, or you can call up like 5 people in Perth, and you're from Canada, and we'll let you sleep on our couch and we'll feed you, like, because we care about you, that's worth a lot more. And in the context of business, like, if these people going to do, like, are they going to make an effort for you? Are they going to trust what you say? Or are they just numbers on your scoreboard? Okay. If you just tuned in, by the way, next week I'm giving away a membership to Link Insider 2.0 to somebody that leaves a review on my podcast, Nathaniel Bibby Podcast. Let me know what you think. Honest review, like, honest, don't give you 5 stars. You could give me a 1-star review and you might win. That's quite possible. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there is one thing that all successful people have in common. One thing. And a lot of them are very different. Like, you'll notice, successful people they're very different to each other. There's a lot of different paths to success. But there is one thing that they all have in common. And I want to talk a little bit about that before we wrap up today. Okay, just bear with me. Just while I'm doing this, drop in the comments and let me know what you think it might be. The single most significant thing. Let's look at a couple of examples. Just opening my window here. Okay. All right, so Henry Ford. Henry Ford's first business attempts at building a motor car was shuttered just after a year and a half when stockholders lost confidence in his ability to succeed, gathered more cash, restarted his effort. A year later, was forced out of his own company yet again. The entire motor industry had lost faith in Henry Ford, but he was not deterred. He found another investor to start Ford Motor Company, and the rest is history. Richard Branson, at age 16, was a high school dropout. You see him flying up to space now. Started a record shop called Virgin back in the day, and he's one of the greatest entrepreneurs that's ever lived. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple. Most of you know the story, joining a long list of brilliant leaders who have been removed from the companies they founded. And Michael Jordan is known for saying, I quote, "I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot, and I missed. I've failed over and over again in my life. And that, my friends, is why I succeed." Eminem, one more example. We've got to talk about Eminem. I love Eminem, largely because of what he's overcome to be where he is and the impact he's had on underprivileged youth worldwide. His dad walked out on him when he was only 18 months. He was raised by a drug-addicted mum and dropped out of school for failing the 9th grade 3 times. He struggled with money, drugs, alcohol, was bullied severely for just being the new kid. His uncle, the only person he was close to, committed suicide. Not to mention the fact that he was white. He was dissed and booed and trying to become this rapper, and just made him better. Just made him better. Jim Carrey, wrote a check to himself for $10 million. Ended up getting a payday for Dumb and Dumber for $10 million on Thanksgiving 1995, which is when he dated that check for. So what do you think this one thing is that all successful people have in common? If you're not being successful at something, keep at it. Your next try is the one that matters. You can't beat somebody that doesn't give up. The one thing that all successful people have in common, ladies and gentlemen, is they don't give up. They never give up. You don't give up, you can't lose. You keep learning, keep moving forward. That's how winning is done, as Rocky would say. Look, I think LinkedIn company pages are going to be awesome. Awesome. I think they're already there. They're already good. I am gearing up to start using them heavily, and I think they're getting all the features. LinkedIn events. They're going to have more. There's going to be more information there than there will be in a personal profile about a business. They're gradually becoming more useful. It's so important. So important. Things about pushing us to tag someone. What are your thoughts on tagging? Well, look, I think that if the post is relevant to the person that you're tagging, they'll want to be tagged. I think it's a good idea. I don't want to. If somebody posts a video, with me in it, or a photograph of me in it, and they don't tag me and I miss it, I'd be disappointed. So, I think it just has to be relevant. Why on earth do people tag 20 people that got nothing to do with the post just so they can get a few notifications Like, make it relevant. Like, you know, you collaborate with people. LinkedIn is a networking tool. Like, you're on there to network the content, unless it's educational, in which case, like, I understand. Like, maybe you don't tag people. Maybe use hashtags instead. Perseverance is exactly what it is. And consistency. 100%. These are all important, guys. I mean, there's so many things that go into it, but not giving up is a good start. Absolutely, very, very good start. A couple of things just before we wrap up, ladies and gentlemen. I want to just remind you that next week I'm going to give away a membership to LinkedIn Insider worth $597 Australian dollars. It's the trading course on nathanielbibby.com, and all you got to do is go to iTunes and search for the Nathaniel Bibby podcast and drop an honest review, and I'll be reading out the names next week, and somebody's going to win the membership to the LinkedIn Insider. And I also want to thank everybody that came to 7 Steps to LinkedIn Influence last week. I had a full house, and it went exceptionally well. We've got the video content which is being edited at the moment, so that'll be up on nathanielbibby.com available if any of you would like the virtual copy. And I would just suggest that, over the next week, that each of you focus on becoming more of a using social media as a relationship building tool. I really think a good metric of how successful social media is for your business is your offline activity. So if your social media is working, you should be having more phone calls and more meetings. A lot of people think when their social media working, they're just going to spend all the time in front of the computer. That's not the way it works. You want to be meeting up with more people down the other stages of the funnel. Because if you're at the top of that funnel and you're catering for the awareness stage and doing all this content for people in the awareness stage, and you identify the problem and you build trust, but you don't actually speak to them, or you don't actually meet with them, or you don't speak to them around the consideration stage, close deals, get referrals, you don't have a business. You got a hobby. You got a content creation hobby, and it's a bad place to be because there's a lot of work to do that stuff at the top of the funnel. It's a lot easier to do stuff at the bottom of the funnel. The reason that we do stuff at the top of the funnel is to get people to the bottom of the funnel. That's what we call a funnel. Najma, do I qualify because I've been listening to your podcast for a while now? Love it. Have already posted a review. Have you? Thank you. I'm an Android user, so really appreciate you telling me that. I'm going to give you a yes, you're included. Najma, ladies and gentlemen, is the first name in the running, I'm writing them down, to win $597 worth of LinkedIn training, ladies and gentlemen. Ian was late. Good job. It was recorded, mate. You're going to have a late Monday night watching the replay. Hope you enjoy it, buddy. That's an hour. So we're going to wrap it up. Have a fantastic week in business. Go out there and dominate. Take no prisoners. Grow your business. Be a Spartan. Be a warrior. And I'll see you next week, guys. Good evening.